Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, so like you guys know, I'm just gonna wait a couple minutes, let people hop on here. Okay, it's super difficult for me to see my screen, so I apologize if I keep like moving forward and backward. I'm just trying to, it's so sunny outside, but I can't help but be outside because it's so nice. So I'm just gonna wait a couple minutes, see if people pop on, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'll slowly get started here, but today we're going to be talking about one of the cards that we pulled yesterday, and we did talk about that card a little bit yesterday, specifically what the message in the scripture meant. Today we're going to get a little bit deeper into, some other things that scripture meant. So yesterday we talked about Luke 21:36. And the message was to pray always. And so today we're going to talk about patience and appreciation, because I think that that's a huge part of praying and why people, maybe start praying more, or even why some people stop praying. Patience can have a big impact on that. So we're going to look at these things, and then tomorrow we're going to discuss the other card that we pulled. Okay, and this is kind of the flow of how we're going to do things. So Monday I'll pull cards, this week it was 2 cards, but usually I'll just be picking one from the Loving Words from Jesus deck by Doreen Virtue. So I'll pull the card on Monday, and then throughout the week we'll discuss different aspects of that card. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to look a little bit more closely at Luke 21:36. So why is patience such a big part of little butterfly, why is patience such a big part of praying and making sure that you do continuously pray? So first of all, what is patience? And I would say that patience is the ability to wait without any negative emotions happening. So I don't just mean negative emotions that are very intense, such as anger or rage, severe anxiety, things like that, or even just the fact that you might be complaining a lot. Boredom is a negative emotion, and it's actually the first negative emotion. I want to try to get a copy of this scale that I saw. It was an emotion scale, but it's a spiral of emotions. And on that scale, boredom is the first negative emotion. So if you're feeling bored, you're already creeping down that negative path of, starting to feel impatient. And the last positive emotion on the spiral scale is contentment. So that's kind of the gauge that you want to be aware of, to know if you're feeling more positive or if you're feeling more negative. And sometimes it can be difficult for us to gauge our emotions, depending on what situations we're in. So I think that is a good test. Are you feeling more content, or are you feeling more bored? So just to be mindful of which side you're teetering on, because that can make a huge impact in the outcome of what you're being patient for, because what you are feeling at the moment is what you're going to be attracting back to yourself. So just be mindful of that, and I will post that. I will post a photo of that image in the group. It's really interesting to look at. So patience can also be a test from God. So it requires a lot of trust and faith for us to be patient, especially when we're waiting for, things that we really, really want to happen. And like we talked about yesterday, things that we might think are supposed to happen for us right now. But we need to have patience, because things are going to happen on God's terms, not on our terms. But the one way way that patience is built is to adjust your spiritual mindset. And this is actually something that I teach in my paid program, but I'm going to share a little bit about that with you today. So what exactly is a spiritual mindset? So a spiritual mindset is the awareness that God is guiding and testing you at all times. So why is that important? That's important because if you walk through life with this mindset, with the awareness that God is walking by you, is testing you in all things that you do, then you will be able to make clearer and calmer decisions about things. You'll be able to face negativity with the attitude of, what can I learn from this situation, instead of, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? It's more of a learning experience versus an obstacle that you're not going to be able to get through, or that it's going to be really difficult to get through. So a spiritual mindset will also help you to learn patience and self-discipline. So this is all really tied together. And through your faith and trust in God, you will become more close to Him than you have ever known. And this is specifically what I teach you how to do in my program. Okay? So a spiritual mindset is so important in not only increasing your relationship with God, but learning these things like patience and about appreciation, which we'll talk about that later, self-discipline, just about the way that you view situations. So one simple way for you to practice patience is to closely monitor your mood. And like I said, I will give you that scale to kind of check that out. And sometimes when you're thinking about how you're feeling and you're not really sure, it can be easier if you're looking at something. So if you are aware that you're feeling bored, you need to make a conscious choice to do something else that is going to make you feel more content. And a lot of the times, this is about accountability for yourself, because it is a completely conscious choice to do this. You have to make yourself do something that is going to make you feel more content, so that you're not feeling bored or any other negative emotion that you might be feeling at the time. So I suggest carrying a small notebook around with you that you can write how you're feeling. And this doesn't have to be like a big journal entry, a big paragraph or anything like that. It can be simply one word of how you're feeling at the moment. And if you do this each hour for a few days in a row, you will start to see a pattern in yourself. And this will allow you to make more connections. Am I feeling a certain way, at a certain time more often? In the afternoon, am I starting to get a little bit more irritable? What can I do to look at that and see how I can make a change? And if you're having trouble shifting your mood, then I encourage you to just pray about that, and this really brings in that patience piece too, because sometimes it can be difficult for us to shift our mood. And we just need to ask God to take your boredom, or to take whatever other feeling you're trying to shift, to take that and replace it with a way that you can be of service to Him. And this also shifts your mindset. And it really is a continuous circle. So this is going to allow you to, give it up to God and know that He will take care of you, to have the trust and the faith and the patience that He will help you through this to the other side. Okay? So that awareness that He is always with you, because it really is one thing to say, well, yeah, of course I believe in God. I know He's with me. I know He helps me. But it's one thing to know that versus being very aware of it during the day, and throughout the night whenever you're awake for this, but being very, very aware of asking Him for help, finding connections and patterns in when you see times that you need more help, when you see times that you feel your mood is a little bit more erratic. Okay, so ask God how you can be of service to Him. We spend so much time, asking for things from God, and we just sit here and get impatient because we don't get them as fast as we think that we should. But we should be asking what we can do for Him. And if you genuinely ask this, He will show you. He will show you what you can do to help Him, and in return, that is going to help your life. So it really is a continuous circle. So just be aware of that mindset. And like I said, these are things that we specifically talk about and break down in my program. So the second thing we're going to talk about is appreciation. One second. So appreciation is the ability to see the good in someone or something. A feeling of gratitude and thankfulness. That's kind of, probably what you hear the most. But it really is the ability to see the good in someone or something. So ask yourself, how often do you appreciate yourself? Can you see the good in yourself? Is it easy for you to do? Or is this something that you struggle with? So keeping in mind the spiritual mindset, God created you just as He wanted for a specific reason. Okay? So the ability for you to appreciate yourself could actually be a test from God. And sometimes we don't really think about it that way. So sorry, it's so... Hello to whoever just hopped on. I'm sorry, it's so sunny, I can't really see my camera. So, appreciation for yourself could be a test from God. So you have to think, are you going to find the good in His creation, which is you? Are you going to be loving and kind and nurturing to His creation? Are you going to use His creation for the highest good and seek the full potential of His creation? Are these the things that you're going to do? Or are you going to abuse His creation? Are you going to have a mean internal dialogue? Are you going to become exhausted and burn out by not taking care of yourself? Allow others to have influence and confirm your negative self-talk? And, are you going to learn to completely not love God's amazing creation? Which side are you going to choose? And I think that it can be very difficult because some of this we have learned from a very, very young age. And becoming aware of these things as adults is the first step in changing them, but not saying that it's easy to change, but being aware of these things is the first step to changing them. And you can change them, but true appreciation starts with the self. And my mission is to teach you genuine appreciation for yourself by changing your spiritual mindset. That is my mission. And after you appreciate and love yourself, feelings of love towards your life are gonna fall into place much, much easier. So one way that you can practice appreciation is to write down one good thing that happened during the day before you go to bed. Okay, and I know this might seem silly, but it really isn't, because sometimes this exercise can be really difficult for people, especially where you're in a space maybe where you're already in a really negative mood from the day, things were just really not going your way, and it can be really, really hard to think of something good that happened, but these can be very, very simple things, like maybe, admiring, the sunset, something like that, sitting outside and listening to the birds. Things like that can be so instrumental in us realizing that there are things to appreciate every single day. And the more that you stick with this exercise, the easier it will get. But just think about if you really made the commitment to stick with this exercise for 1 month. By the end of that month, you will have had, 30 or 31 things that you have been grateful for, appreciative of. And if you look at it in that aspect, it can be a lot easier versus me saying to you, okay, list 30 things that you appreciate right now, because that can be really difficult for some people. So breaking it up day by day, and I think that also, going back to writing down your emotions and carrying this notebook around with you, if you're gonna do that and you're gonna monitor your emotions, then you could even write the good things that happen during the day in there, So this can, prompt you. You can set a time every day that you're going to do this. And this can really, really prompt you to be more mindful and to start looking for the good things in life, So like I said, my goal is to help you make a mindset switch that can change the way you look at yourself and look at the world. And this switch can completely transform your life. Completely transform your life. So I really do suggest taking that time to, practice self-care and write these things down during the day. Even if you don't want to write your mood down every hour, you could write it down 3 times a day. Or you can write down the times when you're feeling a little bit more negative. And go back and then try to find, like I said, patterns and connections to these things, so you can nip these things in the bud before they get to that point, okay? So, like I said, I think with this one scripture, pray always, that we talked about yesterday, there's all these butterflies out here today, I'm sorry, easily distracted by them, but with this pray always scripture, patience and appreciation are so vital, and those were just the 2 things that really popped out at me when we talked about that yesterday. So we're going to talk about the second card more tomorrow, kind of like this. We're just going to dissect it a little bit more, and I do have two videos on my YouTube channel that I think would be great for you guys to watch. One is being grateful on purpose, and the other is expressing gratitude through the chakras. Now that one I did post in our group, and I can post the other one as well, but if you want to go to my YouTube channel, The Spiritual Safe House, and find them yourself, you can do that. But I think they would be, a nice completion to kind of this talk about being patient and being appreciative and grateful for what's going on now, and try to switching your mindset to knowing that there is always something to be grateful for. Okay, so I want to thank you guys so much for participating with me today, and the participation in the group has just been so amazing, and I really appreciate all of that, because all I see is good coming from this group, and you guys are just absolutely amazing. So I want to thank you again, and we will go over the second card tomorrow, and then on Thursday we're going to do something a little bit different, but I can talk about that with you guys tomorrow. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think about everything that was said today, what comes easy to you, what is a little bit harder. If there's anything I can do to help you out with that, just shoot me a PM, and I am more than happy to answer all of your questions. Okay, so I know I kind of mentioned my program a little bit today, because it was just, the content that was coming out is very specific to some things that we talk about in the program. If you are interested in any more information about that, you can visit thespiritualsafehouse.com and check that out. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.